Hello, this is my second video in my Sega Saturn collection update. So this set of games, this stack, is piled just down here on the Philips CDI again. Are kind of the better half of my collection, I'd say. Some of them, there are a couple of shit games in here, but they're just kind of games that are worth owning for some reason. Just sometimes I think games are so bad that you have to experience them, and some games are just mediocre and fall into obscurity. So these are just games that are of interest, so to speak. In no particular order, this is. The first two games I've got to get out of the way because I can't stack them, and they are Virtua Cop 2, obviously because it's in a dual case. So I don't have the light gun, but it's still a good game to play with the old D-pad. So yeah, unfortunately the current TVs, LCD plasma, aren't compatible with the old school light guns. So Alien Trilogy, I've only got half a case for it. There's a manual and half a case. Also got the disc, obviously, or I won't be showing you it. Yeah, dark and moody, kind of Doom clone. Also available on the PlayStation. It's quite a decent game, very atmospheric, very tense. So definitely worth picking up. Pretty cheap as well, if I remember correctly. NBA Jam Extreme. Now this is worth putting on just to see how bad it is, because it's basically, other than name, it's nothing to do with the original 16-bit NBA Jams. It's just interesting to see how they managed to ruin the franchise, so that's why that's in the pile. Wipeout. So I just feel like some of these early, I suppose this probably wasn't an early Saturn game, but you know, some of these games that were originally on the PlayStation and then ported a bit later to the Saturn, I feel like they're kind of cool titles because it's kind of in a way showing that the Saturn could kind of do what the PlayStation did, although apparently this does run slightly slower. Virtua Fighter 2, very common game, but it's very smooth. It runs at 60 frames a second, I believe. You know, it plays so smooth. The controls are so responsive. Colours are very vibrant. Just solid, fast. You gotta have that if you've got Saturn. So my sealed copy of Slam & Jam 96 in my previous video, I said that it's one of the more memorable basketball games, and I've got a sealed copy of it as well, so I can keep that sealed. Johnny Bazooka Tone. This is a weird platforming game. It's not a good one in my opinion. Also comes with a music CD in there, but why you would want to listen to the music off this game, I do not know. But yeah, I mean, you could probably use the bloody game disc to listen to the music anyway, so I don't know why I'm bothered. Incredible Hulk Pantheon Saga. If I remember correctly, somebody told me that this was voted the worst Saturn game by one of the UK Sega Saturn magazines. It's just really laughable. It's just a mess and really cheesy and just a bad game. But it's not rare, but it's one of the more valuable Saturn titles. Grid Run. It's kind of weird puzzle type, running around a maze game. It's hard to explain. I quite like this when I put it on. You know, I thought it was a pretty decent game. Doesn't look like the person who originally had it did, because it looks like it's hardly been played. So Virtua Cop, the first one, again, you know, still a decent game if you have to play it with a D-pad. So definitely one I would pick up if you have a Saturn. Gex, yeah, it's not an amazing game, but you know, I like the graphics on it, kind of vibrant, and yeah, it's just, I like the colours and the mood of the game. So Virtua Fighter, the first one, it's worth picking this up just to see how blocky and horrible the original Virtua Fighter port was. Destruction Derby, again, this is, you know, a game that was also released on the PlayStation, and just a pretty cool game. What can you say about it? Smashing and racing cars. Wiz, this is a weird title, like Incredible Hulk Pantheon Saga. This is kind of one of the more valuable Saturn games. When I say valuable, I mean, you know, around 15 to 20 quid, which is a moderate kind of price to pay for a retro game. It's a weird isometric kind of platform game. It's got its own thing going on. Clockwork Knight, an excellent side-scrolling platformer. Definitely worth checking out this one. I mean, I'm not a massive platform fan, but you know, I've played this quite a bit, and it's an excellent game. Very clever level design. Sega Ages Volume 1. I don't believe there was ever a Volume 2, at least not in PAL. Afterburner 2, Space Harrier and Outrun, basically pretty much arcade perfect ports of said three games, and yeah, excellent games. They all got excellent soundtracks, excellent gameplay, you know, 2D kind of graphics, but you know, still stunning. Need for Speed, the first one, it's just a good title to own, because of the amount of Need for Speed games that have followed it, and it's good to see where the series started. Spot Goes to Hollywood, yeah, this was also a Mega Drive game, might have been a Super Nintendo game as well, but yeah, it's pretty cool. Nice gameplay, nice style, plenty of variation in the level design. Fighting Vipers, when I looked at my import games earlier, I had the Fighters Mega Mix, and obviously this is kind of half of that game, so to speak. And I played Fighters Mega Mix before I played this, and after playing Fighters Mega Mix, that's what made me kind of want to buy Fighting Vipers, so that's why I picked this up. Excellent game. Not quite as polished as Virtua Fighter, but I find the gameplay a bit more satisfying. Exhumed, another kind of Doom clone. This, yeah, I think this was a Doom clone. I was just trying to think, is it a Doom clone or is it a Quake clone? And I think it is a Doom clone. Yeah, excellent graphics, interesting kind of weird setting, and you know, smooth graphics, the lot. So it's definitely worth checking out if you've got Saturn. So Sonic Jam, this is something that's definitely worth checking out if you're a Sonic fan or a Sega fan in general. It's basically the first 3 Sonic games and Sonic and Knuckles, and they're all actually coded for the Saturn hardware. They're not emulated, they are kind of bespoke Saturn ports of each game. And the first Sonic game on this actually has the spin dash. Those of you who are familiar with Sonic will know that Sonic only had the spin dash from Sonic 2 onwards. So what they did was they recoded the games and added the spin dash into the first game. And they're kind of tied together with this little 3D Sonic world where you can go around in little rooms and watch videos and stuff. Yeah, I think it might have been Sonic's first, yeah, I think it was his first full 3D outing. Obviously Sonic 3D isn't true 3D, it's just isometric 2D. Sonic R, it's not an actual proper Sega game. It was developed by Traveller's Tales, and it's not, if you described it to somebody, you'd probably have to end up saying it's like Mario Kart, but it's not. It's running on foot mainly. Amy has a car in the game and it's worth playing, but it's not a good game, to be honest. Some people are fans of it, I'm not at all. Die Hard Trilogy, love this game. Yeah, it's excellent. It's also excellent on the PlayStation. Definitely a must-have game for 32-bit fans. 3D Lemmings, this is worth putting on just to see how bad the controls are. To me, this is a game that shouldn't be on the Saturn. It just doesn't work for me. Loaded, excellent game. Definitely worth checking out. It's just crazy, mental, violent. Definitely good fun, worth checking out. Magic Carpet, I only picked this one up recently, so I haven't actually had a chance to play it, but from what I've seen on YouTube videos and whatever, it's kind of a unique title, and I can't wait to put it on. Street Racer, Mario Kart clone. I'd probably go as far to say that the Super Nintendo version is the best version I've played of this game, but the Saturn version's definitely still worth checking out. Digital pinball. Yeah, this is a great pinball game. It's got 4 tables on it, unlike Pro Pinball the Web. So yeah, decent, solid pinball game. Independence Day the game. Now this is one of those games I was referring to as just being that bad that you've got to experience them. I don't know what would be worse, being subjected to the film again or being subjected to the game. For me, it's the kind of movie you can only watch once. Quake, it's kind of a jerky-ish port, but it's kind of a decent technical achievement, I'd say, for to have this on Saturn. I don't think there was a PlayStation version, as far as I'm aware, off the top of my head anyway. I know the PS1 had Quake 2 later on, but don't ever remember seeing this for the PS1, so that's cool. FIFA Road to World Cup 98. A lot of the FIFA games on the Saturn get stick for being crap ports, but I mean, when I've played this, I can't really, you know, from what I remember of the PS1 version when I used to have that, can't really see the difference. It's got all the features. you know, the gameplay doesn't seem really bad to me. The graphics don't seem, you know, the graphics seem comparable to any other football game of the time. X-Men Children of the Atom, it's basically like Street Fighter 2 but with the X-Men characters, so if you like the sound of that, then it's basically what that is. That's one of the more, one of the less common Saturn games, so you're looking at about 20 quid for that, complete with the manual. Fortunately I don't have the manual. Virtual Racing, this is a cool version. It's kind of a definitive version of Virtual Racing. It's got like extra tracks and stuff like that. I also want to pick up the Mega Drive version of Virtual Racing, but haven't got around to that yet. But it's definitely a cool title to aim for your Saturn. Jurassic Park, The Lost World, I don't like this game, but I just think that there's something cool about Jurassic Park games. Just I kind of like the logo, I guess. I always like the box art for Jurassic Park games, I guess, so that's a pathetic reason for it to be in this pile, but that's why it's here. Baku, I mean, you can just see from the back and the front, it's just a ridiculously vibrant puzzle game, and it's just mental. I played this for quite a while. It's very addictive. Everybody knows Duke Nukem 3D, and yeah, it's a decent version, and just the fact that it's the Saturn version makes it a cooler game. Manx TT Superbike. I never really understood why it was called Manx and not Man TT, because it's obviously based on the Isle of Man TT. If anybody knows why, please let me know. Yeah, this was a cool game back in the day because it had the arcade cabinet. It was kind of like the next generation version of Super Hang-On at the time, so not quite the same without the big bike to sit on and lean into the corners and stuff, but yeah, it's still a pretty solid arcade racer. Very cheap and common too. And Sega Rally, yeah, what can you say about this game? Immensely playable. The only downside to it is that it's extremely short. The game is like 10 minutes long, if that, start to finish, so definitely not high in replay value, but it does run at an incredible 30 frames a second. Wow, that's half of 60 frames a second. So yeah, that's pretty much my Saturn collection. Apart from I haven't showed you any controllers. I basically just have 3 standard controllers, one that's a bit mashed and 2 that are perfect, and power leads and an RF cable and a couple of composite cables and a SCART cable, and you didn't really want to see that stuff because it's boring, so which is why I didn't include it on a video. So that is my Saturn collection, and it's something like 75 power games, 74 or 75. So I'm very close to owning a third of the power games, but I'm going to try and kind of get as many games as I can in any kind of format before I start spending silly money on games. You know, if I can get a US or Jap version of a game for a quarter of the price, you know, for games like 50 quid for the power version, and I can get a Jap version, I'm going to get the Jap version as well, and then eventually add the PAL version to my collection. I'm not a fussy arsehole when it comes to collecting games. At the end of the day, I'm collecting games, not just boxes, if that makes sense. So I hope you've enjoyed my Saturn collection and quick comments on some of the games. It's not the biggest collection in the world, but like I say, about a third of the way there now, and hopefully there'll be many more games to come in the future and many more videos. There is actually videos, gameplay, let's play videos of all of the games in my collection apart from one, which is Magic Carpet, and that's because I have not had a chance to do that yet. But the chances are it will be a video of that game will be uploaded, you know, as the next video after this collection video. So yeah, stay tuned, and thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment and subscribe and all of that shit. Awesome.